I'm Malcolm Nance, and you are tuned into the Black Man Spy podcast. Welcome from wherever you are. We know people are coming from all over the world. I'm Malcolm Nance. I'm your host, and you are here for day 97. Too much confusion, maybe Warcast, maybe Peacecast. Who knows? We're going to play it by ear. One thing that I learned yesterday is by the end of this podcast, everything I tell you will be contradicted or will be, I don't know. So many crazy things happened in the 45 minutes when we finished between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern time yesterday. I was on Wajeeh's podcast to talk about the breakdown in negotiations. And then I went on Mario Nuafel's podcast to talk about a whole series of attacks and the craziness that was going on. And while that was happening, all these crazy statements were coming in from the White House and the Knesset and all sorts of places. You know what? We're just going to tell you what happened. And as good analysts, all of you are going to be able to absorb this within the continuum of your intelligence process. That at each one of our specialty desks, like Jacob Karsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire, with his Russian warship Go F Yourself coffee mug. Good job. Idi Nakoi, go find yourself a dick. That's what that literally means. He's operating on the North Arctic and Middle East desk. And then on the other side, we have a regional specialist, Wajeeh, the gay lion, who hails from the Middle East via Minneapolis, Minnesota, because that's where all the really good Middle East experts go, right? And he's got his handmade crafted mug that he picked up at some Renaissance fair or something. I don't know. But when the problem is when he goes to the Renaissance fair, he doesn't dress like, a knight or anything like that. He goes as Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, defeating the first crusade, I don't know which one he beat. I might have been the second or third crusade. That being
Oh my
said,
God, that's hilarious.
yeah, I go as a slave. So Jacob goes as a crusader, as a Templar. Well, good to see you have
but I
that
only
luck.
make it to Kiev. I don't go.
You go in the wrong
further than
direction.
that
That's
because
not
it's
quite a crusade. Okay. And I'm coming to you from my secret lair in Canada, where I am holding up until I finished the copy edit of my memoir, Thinker, Sailor, Black Man Spy. And I am still sporting the grommet coffee cup with my beloved Nescafe 3-in-1 in there. When I was in the Ukrainian army, I lived on 3-in-1s. I lost so much weight. All I had time for was a 2 or 3 3-in-1s throughout the day. If you don't know what that is, it's something that's sold overseas. I cannot find it in the United States. You got to order it through Amazon. But they're these little packets, and it's got coffee, sugar, creamer, in there, all 3-in-1 in one packet. And they're like little bullets for waking up in the morning or staying awake when you're on patrol. It's just one of those things. So Dawn says she wants that cup. I might auction it off. Gee. Gee. Wait, I got to do it right. By the way, in case you guys have seen the Wallace and Gromit movies, or you've never seen the Wallace and Gromit movies, the only one you should really see is Case of the Were-Rabbit. That is such a freaking funny film. I cry laughing every time I see it. The jokes in there are precious. And they've got like this insane cast. Like Reno Fiennes is the bad guy in there, and uh just all these crazy British actors who do their voiceovers in that show for that movie. So cheers to Wallace and Gromit. Okay. Wow, we're moving up there really fast. 7 minutes. Wajeeh, you want to hit us with the oil prices, please? It was crazy yesterday. It was going up like $1 a minute at one point. And it was just nuts. So, and then it's
Yeah,
come
I
back
do
down
have
a
this crystal ball for you today.
Ah,
Okay, West Texas Intermediate looks like it's at $91.20, still up $4 from what it was yesterday morning. It hit 94 yesterday and then came down a little bit. Brent Intermediate Brent Crude is at 94. That was at 96 yesterday. It was a skyrocket in that 1 hour after our show. I mean, literally, the minute this show ended yesterday, oil exploded because of the news, which is the most significant activity of the day. We have the report. Iran yesterday, coordinating with the Israelis, said, don't make any announcements until Malcolm's Black Man Spy show is finished. The minute this show went off air, I got a notice. I was at Wajeeh's show, and I got a notice that the Iranian negotiators walked out of the peace talks. They said they have withdrawn from the peace negotiations. They are in no communication with Washington. We've confirmed this morning, I think, Waj, you said something about that their Pakistani intermediaries are like, yeah, they're fucking gone. They're out. They are out of this thing. Boom! Oil in 45 minutes shot up $7 a barrel, right? And then you have those holders on who are going, no, Trump's going to say something nice about it. Trump's going to say something nice about it. By late afternoon, Trump was saying things like, I don't care about negotiations.
I can wait as long as they want.
I don't care too much.
I can wait as long as they want, he said.
I'll get the quote for you because that is exactly what he said. He said, I don't care about peace talks. I don't care if they're over. Here's the quote.
They were starting to bore me.
So so here is the most significant activity. This is from Eamon Javers. I think where's he at? Financial Times or something like that. CNBC. He was a financial organization. I spoke to President Trump on the phone last hour about the end of negotiations with the Iranians. He told me, I don't care if they're over. Honestly, I really don't care. I couldn't care less. If they're over, they're over. If they're not, I think they took too much time. Frankly, I thought they were started to get very boring. So the entire fate of the global economy is in
I
the
don't know
hands of the guys like,
why
they're not doing what I want. I'm bored.
Since when do our politicians complain about boring? Their whole job is supposed to be boring. Like you're meant to sit down and do the most boring shit ever, and then every once in a while you're supposed to have excitement or like with some cool ideas. But the whole idea is that you are there to serve the people, to be a servant for your nation.
Okay.
And that means you're sitting down doing a lot of boring shit. And you chose to go into this war. Iranians didn't choose to go to this war. It was your boring idea. So could you please finish this up? And then he adds up. He goes, he also said, I can wait as long as they want in another statement on a Truth Social. He goes, I can wait as long as they want. We can't wait as long as they want. You can't wait as long as they want. Maybe as Trump, you can wait as long as they want, but the rest of the world is in an acute situation if you have not felt it. But it just tells you everything that this man is so disconnected from the rest of the world and reality that it doesn't affect him. So it doesn't matter.
He doesn't care. This is really something we talked about quite a few times, and I hope it's seeping into people, that there are three sets of people who are having discussions here. Okay, on his right is the devil with the pitchfork, that is the money men who are saying, hey, listen, I know people are making money by manipulating the market and everything, but overall, everyone's going to lose hundreds of billions on this thing. You've got to put an end to this. And I think, in truth, I think he's really panicked internally. He's not saying it. This is external consumption, right? He's not saying it. This is his bullshit. I'm strong. Boom, 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 boom. I'm the guy who can solve all matters because the only thing that matters is me as an individual. I think when that camera goes off and those phone calls hung up, and those money men are talking to him about you, the entire global economy will collapse. Now, the indicators to him that things are bad are when the Saudis and the Qataris and the Emiratis start making noise like no Trump Tower, Riyadh, no Trump Tower, Tashkent, no Trump Tower, or super secret Bond villain submarine base turned into a eco resort off of Albania Lair. That, by the way, is Kushner class submarine base that's in the and I know this base. I've steamed off of Albania back when I won't tell you what kind of missions I was on, but when I was there on floaty things, some of which were above water, some of which were below water, you hold off of Albania. And in Albania back then, my first mission was a third world shithole with a dictator who hadn't eaten a bullet yet. So it was always
In
considered a
Wajeeh.
yeah. And it's a coast that's covered with pillboxes. Like every 10 meters is a pillbox face out towards it. This guy was the Kim Jong-un of Europe.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
he was nuts. But now it is a Bond villain eco resort that's being converted into $1 billion off the grid playground for for Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, and all the other billionaire pedophiles, because Albania, one of the last holdouts of, I'm certain most of you have never met an Albanian woman. So, another resource that these people can all play with while they're there, right? It'll be the Epstein Island of Europe when it's done.
I'm
So
going
that
to
being,
Albania in a few months.
you're going to Albania? Where,
Yeah,
Tirana?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I've been to Tirana. It reminds me of a Russian trailer park with water.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's things are happening in Albania. I don't know if our
were they a
viewers
member, NATO member?
they need to go and watch the Daily Show. Jon
Yeah.
Stewart yesterday about the negotiations where he has compiled all Trump's statements about 95%, and it's almost there, and it's happening now, and the Iranians are desperate for a deal. Until yesterday, where he suddenly said it was the Democrats and all the pundits that were ruining it. So Jon Stewart compares it to potty training, where you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed. It won't come out if you talk about it and all that. Don't you call it potty training?
Yeah, potty training.
Yeah, I had babies in the U.S., so I should remember. So
Ay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
So,
hilarious. Go watch it.
so this is a good example of where Trump, and again, for those of you, I know there's some people that Nance, he's anti-Trump, he's anti-MAGA. No, I'm common sense. I'm for all sorts of rationalized intelligence. This guy's coming off like an unhinged Idi Amin. The thing about it, though, Idi Amin was actually a rational thinker and had the decency to retire to Mecca for the rest of his life when he was put out of power. Not so Donald Trump, right? He's coming off more like Mobutu Sese Seko, or what some of these crazier characters, Papa Doc Duvalier. For those of you who don't know, just Google those names up. I am not going into those histories again. Yikes. Coo. And they were real dictators. But, back in the old days, dictators had the decency to just shut up, take their billions of dollars, and retire to the French Riviera. Now I guess they're going to the Albanian coast. It reminds me of that movie. What is it? Knives Out, right? The Glass Onion. And if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. That is the Elon Musk movie. So that being said, Trump just doesn't give two flips because
Nope.
to him, there are people telling him the U.S. is getting crazy rich by selling oil out of Texas. Yeah, but they're selling it to the other side of the world. The U.S. population is suffering greatly, and he doesn't care about that because to them, that's a non-starter, right? What does he care about what the average person pays for gas? He doesn't pay for gas at all in his armored, his 6-ton, armored vehicle. So that being said, Trump saying this is true on one hand. On the other hand, he has panic within his White House cabinet because I think he really understands some of this, especially the Strait of Hormuz, is costing him money in the long run and his friends who support him money. That's it. He doesn't care about whether, gas goes up to $7 a gallon on average in the United States. So this led to another interesting component. I had a hour-long talk with Mario Nawafal yesterday, and I said, Iran is actually playing very smart ball. They made a statement, let's see if we can find it, from the foreign ministry, that the ceasefire that was agreed to 40 some odd days ago in Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, it was agreed to by all parties that it would have a ceasefire everywhere. And he said that. He goes, "Hey, wait a minute. The ceasefire in the Persian Gulf was supposed to apply to the ceasefire in Lebanon, and so we are withdrawing our negotiators, not because the United States had a clash in Bandar Abbas, not because the Israelis carried out an assassination in Tehran, not because they fired ballistic missiles at Kuwait. They are pulling out because they are now tying the entire ceasefire to Israel's activities in Lebanon. And the reason they're doing that is Israel had prepared and was making signs that they were about to completely Gazify South Beirut. They were going to do a blitz against the Dahia neighborhood in South Beirut. And the Iranians pulled their trump card, if you want to be honest. They essentially said, okay, fuck y'all. We're not even playing in your game anymore. Peace, either you get on the phone to Netanyahu or every dollar that's being lost, we'll crash the world economy.
And we've said precisely that would happen. I don't know how many times, but quite often we've said at some point that will happen, and it happened yesterday.
Yesterday, literally before the show ended, I was trying to say that Iran's patient is growing thin, and in the game of chicken, they are least people they're not going to blink first, and therefore they are likely to take the first action to escalate the whole situation, and they did.
Who briefed Trump? It's got to be Netanyahu. Because the Iranians are never going to break. Never. They had a 10-year war that cost them almost 1 million men. They had a battle of the cities with the Iraqis. The Strait of Hormuz was attacked all the time. Who keeps convincing him that Iran will break is beyond me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, just in addition to that, the Iranians are raising the stakes. The Islamic Revolution Guard Corps issued an explicit directive threatening a total non-negotiable closure of both the Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb Strait. This marks a massive expansion of Iran's second-order maritime closure. We talked about how dangerous that would be because Baba al Mandab is the only other exit that Europe has into the warm waters without having to add another 14 days trip to cross Africa back into the Indian Ocean.
Well,
I'll let you guys comment on that.
Let me read Aranchi's statement. Sorry, I got something in my contact, so I may have to step out here in a moment just to wash it out. It says Aranchi's statement yesterday was for immediate attention. I like the way he's sort of using a
Thank you for
reverse.
your attention to that.
He starts off, with attention. Thank you for your attention to this matter. With immediate intention, the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. Is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon. It's a violation on one. If it's a violation on one front, is a violation on all of the ceasefire on all fronts. The U.S. and Israel are responsible for the consequences of any violation. And that's when IRGC Command came out within minutes, because I called you right after this. I went on Wajeeh's podcast to talk about this. And within minutes, IRGC came out and started threatening, saying, we not only have control of the Strait of Hormuz, we can start exercising control of the Bab el-Mandab if this ceasefire collapses. And I thought, man, that is a real threat. That's a serious ass threat. Asia will get nothing. Nothing. No oil will go to Asia. Right now, all the oil that's coming out of Saudi Arabia is going through Fujairah and Yanbu through the Red Sea. And Fujairah is vulnerable to ballistic missile fire. So, I mean, that's a serious ass threat. Europeans, they can deal with it, right? But the rest of Asia cannot. And that's where, all these fledgling economies. I saw a program on Al Jazeera yesterday to give you an example of secondary, tertiary, quaternary effects of how in Myanmar, every farmer in Myanmar is having to hawk off their family valuables, spend the last of their money because gasoline has gone to some crazy amount, like $10 a gallon. And they can't operate their little putt-putt diesel tractors that are these tiny trash Chinese-built tractors. They look nothing like our tractors. They look like something out of the 1800s. And they can't rice farm because all the gas that's cut off in the Persian Gulf.
Mm.
It's crazy. What do you guys say? While I once again
I
plead my
say,
contract.
I say the big problem for Trump is that he's in a situation where he only has bad choices. The first bad choice is to accept the Iranian position. And that is a bad choice, but it's probably all the others are worse.
Yeah.
Because if he rejects the Iranian position, the clock is ticking on the oil shock. 2-3 weeks. We are looking at 150, 160, as we've talked about on this show. And the third choice he has is to restart the war. And then the oil price will probably surge even higher, because then the Iranians will close Bab el-Mandeb, attack Yanbu, attack Fujairah, and then we're looking at, I don't know, 180, 190, I don't know. So he's only got bad choices to make, and he claims he only wants a great deal. Good luck. It will be putting a whole lot of lipstick on a pig, but it'll still be a pig.
I wish they would at least try to put some lipstick on this pig, God, they don't even try that. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, that being said, let's talk about the phone call. So, as I said, there are two separate sets of demons on Trump's shoulder. On the right-hand side, he's got Benjamin Netanyahu. On the left-hand side, he has the economic factors that are losing money for all of his multi-billionaire rich friends. And they are losing money. I don't care if they're gaming the market. Doesn't matter. You're going to lose money. Even the oil companies that are running in the United States, those tanks will start hitting tank bottom here. They said September, you're over and done with, because we're consuming more than we put into the United States. And even worse, these rat bastards are selling off all the oil that should be coming to the United States at auction for much higher. So this isn't going to last higher.
And even sending a VLCC to Japan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I find that absolutely hilarious how the Japanese viewed it like the arrival of the fucking, Titanic. It didn't hit an iceberg. And what's absolutely amazing about that is that it's a drop in the bucket of what Japan needed that day. That day. You don't go, 900,000 barrels of oil has arrived. America is now providing
So we're
oil
only 4 million
to Japan.
short.
Yeah, you're only 2.5 billion off from what they needed. That oil was eaten before breakfast, right? It was gone. It was like a snack. It was like it was like one of those little Japanese rice candy snacks. Gone. Right? It wasn't even a decent bit of sushi. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. As if that wasn't enough to make a point. Hezbollah has been attacking Israel. Let's just be honest about this, right? For those of you who think this isn't all on Israel. And I said on a couple of podcasts yesterday, if Hezbollah and the Iranians were smart, they would just stop attacking Israel. Because what's going to happen after that is that Israel is going to do what Israel does, right? Not Israel. Netanyahu's administration is going to do, the Katz, Ben-Gvir, Netanyahu team are going to do what they do best, which is mass murder civilians. Let's just be honest, right? There is a military aspect of this. I would like them to wipe out Hezbollah. Great. However, it's the way they're going about it, right? Zahava Malka is saying the same thing. Hezbollah has been attacking. You're right. Hezbollah has been attacking, and it's Iran's job to rein that shit in. And the smartest thing they could do is stop freaking firing. These rockets are nothing compared to ballistic missiles. But they do harass. I told you, I've been to northern Israel under fire, under rocket fire. Everything north of Haifa is getting hit with rockets, and there's 100,000, 200,000 civilians that cannot live in their homes so long as they're firing rockets off there. So what does that do? That makes Israel invade Lebanon. What does that do? Brings more rockets. What does that do? Makes Israel invade further into Lebanon. What does that do? Bring more rockets. Iran needs to cut that shit out. They do have influence here. If you don't want South Beirut razed and Tyre occupied, you might want to stop Hezbollah from firing. Right? Yeah. That being said, they have been firing drones and rockets into northern Israel, all over the place. Metula, Hanida, Rosh Hanikra. Been to all these. I haven't been to Metula and Safed. I'll bet you they're even hitting the Donald J. Trump kibbutz up there in the Golan Heights. And you know, if that gets hit by a rocket, fight's on, baby. Trump will really attack. That being said, Trump started listening to the little demon on his left shoulder, which is the oil men. And then he realized once the Iranians walked out, he actually did care. And he immediately called Benjamin Netanyahu. So let's go over the Netanyahu phone call. You won't believe this. So Trump, this came from Barack Ravid at Axios, so you know it's accurate. And it was Trump he has a really serious problem of looking like he's in Israel's pocket. So he decided to get on the phone and have a screaming match with Benjamin Netanyahu because he apparently really did care that the Iranians left negotiations, and he saw his Nobel Prize for ending the war that he started slipping away. So he got into a fight. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are wondering, there is a chat on Substack. You can post your questions. It's been up since 6 this morning, day 97. Okay. So here's one of the things that was put out by Axios. Axios reported that Trump exploded at Netanyahu, calling him fucking crazy, and said, "You'd be in prison if it weren't for me." He said, "Everybody hates you, you know?" Now, I actually believe this happened. I believe this happened. Because
But
don't
it's a
forget,
funny thing to do if you don't care.
Yeah, if you don't care, he apparently very much cares because this is money. Look at Mama Kay is laughing her ass off there, right? But Barack Ravid put it out that Trump called him fucking crazy, said he would be in prison. Now, this is the reason I believe this is, I used to do a podcast with Michael Cohen and Lev Parnas. Both of them worked for Donald Trump. Both of them went to prison for Donald Trump. They have inducted me into believing this is his modus operandi. He thinks everyone he works with is indebted to him. He works with people who are broken so he can blackmail them. He will bring people in who have criticized him, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Lindsey Graham. He will get something on them and he will blackmail them and remind them that, hey, things will work out financially better for you if you are with me as a loyalist, if you renege on all the stuff that you did. A good example of that is, who was it that ran against Barack Obama in 2012? I've already forgotten his name, right? Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. One of the first things Trump did was have a dinner with Mitt Romney, a private one-on-one chat with Mitt Romney. And the moment it was done, they released photos of Mitt Romney eating escargot. And they started calling him a French lover, a fake American. Right? The only way that you can get any respect from Trump is what Zohran Mamdani did. Oh, yeah, you're a fascist. Fuck you. Right to his face. And then he'll go, oh, yeah, I am a fascist. Fuck me. I mean, it's just incredible. So this is why he went to war with Netanyahu, because he really does care about what's happening. And the money people are telling him, 4th of July, $6 a gallon gasoline on the 4th of July weekend. That will be the end of Trump, and the polls are starting to show it. What do you guys think? Why did he go after Netanyahu?
Yeah,
Well,
to all these allegations that it's been Netanyahu playing Trump got to his head, and then he went back to show that he was the big boss.
well, not only that, the thing is Israel kept showing that regardless of what Trump comes out and says, regardless of what sovereign decisions the United States is trying to make, they can easily undermine the United States diplomacy and undermine the U.S. intelligence by just taking their own actions whenever they want and escalating whenever they want when we're obviously trying to de-escalate. So it's just a natural way of creating tension. Uh, you have the Gulf states are calling you on one hand and threatening that they would cut off all of the economic uh, promises that they did. You have Saudi Arabia that promised $1 trillion of investments into the U.S. economy. You can kiss that goodbye. You had billions of dollars worth of investment from Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. You can kiss all of that goodbye.
Yep.
Now, in addition to that, Trump is losing his towers. So you add all of those up, you can just imagine the type of pressure and the tension that it just puts on a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just want to actually get down into that because apparently that discussion was completely centered around Lebanon. Trump told Netanyahu, don't you dare bomb Dahia in Beirut. Don't carry it out. Now, this being said, there is a contradiction in place. I have it right here. For everyone who's saying, oh, that's not right, that didn't happen. Well, Trump's favorite mouthpiece, his right-wing mouthpiece, is Mark Levine. Mark Levine came out within minutes and said, this is treason. Whoever said this story to Axios is a traitor and it's a violation of federal law and provides support, and that you're providing support to the Iranian regime by releasing this, and you're supporting it as Hezbollah proxy. So here he is calling the White House sources Hezbollah proxies. At the exact same time, confirming every word, right, Barack Ravid said about that, which means it really happened. It really happened. So this is absolutely funny. And Mark Levine threatens that it's the Israeli people who will be mad at Trump. Well, don't forget that a month ago, Trump says, I'm the most popular figure in Israel, right? Definitely more popular than Netanyahu. He said, remember? He said they could vote for Trump and I would be prime minister of Israel. And the Pope and the supreme allied leader of Shia Islam. And I mean, this guy lives in a crazy fantasy world. I swear to God, if this were president of Burundi, I would enjoy writing up these cables and intel reports on this guy. I would have a grand old time. But no, it's the president of the United States who is mentally ill and apparently has lost his grip on reality. That being said, yes, anybody? Okay.
Yeah. What did the Iranians then do?
But the Iranians, they went out and had another cup of tea.
And what more? What more?
What else? Halas.
Didn't they put a hole in a tanker?
Oh, yeah. Well, that actually happened just beforehand. I'm getting to that. Believe it or not, that was 17 hours ago. So it was before that call.
Okay.
And it's so insignificant that the Iranians fired 2 anti-ship missiles into an oil tanker off Qasr, Kuwait, that it's at the bottom of my list for today. Actual open warfare is at the bottom of the list for today. Well, once again,
just a hole in a tanker. Come on.
Just a hole in a tanker.
Are you not entertained? I'm just saying, for anyone who's missing this fun, you are really missing something. Please, guys, hit those little hearts down there. I think that there is an actual adjustment going through Substack. We've dropped 3,000 followers in less than a week. And I don't know if any of you guys have dropped followers, but no one's going, Malcolm Nance, I'm signing off from him. We're having the exact same fun that we had on April 14th when we were at our peak, nearing 97,000. We want to try to get to 100,000 because that means we'll get a broader group of people, but we're still holding at number 10 in world politics. How that happens, I don't know. So in order to make it even more fun this morning, almost as much fun as receiving a grommet mug, Donald Trump wrote on May 18, 2026, if Iran surrenders, admits their navy is gone at the bottom of the sea and their air force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped, hands held high, each shouting, I surrender, while wildly waving the representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all the necessary documents of surrender and admit their defeat to a great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news media will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. The Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy, President DJT. He put that out on May 18th. And then for some bizarre, strange reason, he put it out exactly word for word again.
Did he?
On May 26th. And then on a 1 a.m. rant, he put it out again last night.
It was that brilliant. He wanted it out again.
No,
it was that brilliant.
He keeps watching the same anime over and over again. Not a movie, anime. He keeps watching the same anime over and over again and gets the inspiration of that exact quote and goes, yep, that's the moment. I need to share this quote to let the world know.
They will
brought Iran to their knees, and they will know that they're on their knees. We have destroyed all of their equipment. We have knocked out all of their mountains. we made sure that we use half of our weapons to hit rockets in Iran. And like, come on, please.
So the person who every Israeli would pick for prime minister, Donald John Trump, put out a tweet. I'm going to move out of the way so that you can see this. Put out a tweet yesterday right after his, hey, unconditional surrender, drop your weapons, walk away. I don't know who's convinced him of that, but there's a report that the Israelis convinced him of this in the run up to the war. Netanyahu said that the regime was on the verge of collapse and all we had to do was this operation and push. And Trump believes it to the bottom of his heart and he wants them. Why don't they put up white flags? The guy thinks that this is the Iraqi army in 2001. I mean, it's not happening there, bro. 1991, 2003. They were Shias being oppressed by Sunnis. Of course they walked away. So here's what Trump wrote yesterday. I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today. This is a different conversation, right? Asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi. I also had a conversation with the representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah. What?
Direct link there.
Who exactly would you be calling? I know who he talked to because it came out while we were there. He did not talk to Hezbollah. He talked to Nabi Berri, a guy who is the former head of the Amal militia. When I was 20 years old, Nabi Berri was leading the Shia Muslim push against the Americans. And then Hezbollah popped up as a massive organization organized by Iranian intelligence, and Berry sort of fell off the map, except during the TWA 847 hijacking. Anytime we want a guy in a really fucking expensive suit to speak for Hezbollah, we call Nabi Berry. And I mean, this guy is a Savile Row wearing dude, okay? So he says, I also had a conversation with representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them. Let's see how long this lasts. Hopefully, it will be for eternity. President Donald John Trump. Well, eternity apparently was about 20 minutes. Immediately after he put that out, Benjamin Netanyahu came out with this. Tonight, I spoke with President Trump and told him that if Hezbollah does not cease attacking our cities and citizens, Israel will attack terror targets in Beirut. This stance of ours remains unchanged. In parallel, the IDF will continue to operate as planned in southern Lebanon. So, two entirely different narratives. Three entirely different readouts of the same phone call. And Netanyahu, this is Netanyahu's demon pushing back, going right into Trump's shoulder. And he's like, fuck you. No, you're going to dance to our tune. Yeah. The question is, what will happen today? What will happen today? Will Israel bomb Dahya as scheduled? Which is what's on there? Could be, guys, could be happening right now. Okay, we all know we're 15 minutes from the end of the show, and you know at minute 16, right? The IAF, right? Scramble, scramble, scramble. Malcolm has finished his show. It's almost like they schedule us, and I'll have to go on Wajeeh's show to explain why this is happening. Okay, let's get to
during the day over here. It has not looked as if they've stopped anyway. You know, it looks like they're continuing the push in Lebanon, as far as I could tell.
Well, it may have been an operational pause. Whoops, sorry about that. I said it may have been an operational pause, paused long enough to put bombs on planes. And today is Tuesday. Thank you, Terry K. Wonder. Today is Taco Tuesday. So the question is, what will Trump taco about today? God damn it, now I want a goddamn taco. So you guys got to stop this. I should just
Mexican night.
pre-order everything. Mexican night.
And nachos are guaranteed.
Okay. While we were talking, breaking news did happen, and I am not going to play this Fox News clip so that I don't violate anything on YouTube, right? This is from Trey Ying in response to this tweet that I just read to you. Trey Ying, reporting from Tel Aviv, dropped a bombshell. Ready? Trump announced 21 minutes ago. It was 9 minutes ago when I had to clean my contact. Announced that an Iran deal, a massive deal with Iran, could be done in the next week.
Wonderful. 95% is already agreed.
95% taco. I just can't figure out if it's a chicken taco or if it's a beef taco or if it's a halal, halal kosher taco.
I think it's vegan, to be honest.
Vegan. The vegan.
Yeah. I think it's
A vegan taco.
I think it's solidly
Whoa,
vegan.
whoa, it depends. It depends. I don't know if you've had highly seasoned Thai tofu grilled or deep fried, but that stuff tastes better than any meat in there, right? Tofu taco. And it's delicious. You know why? Because like Milli Vanilli, it takes on the flavor of whatever it's fried in, right? So and we already determined that it was that guy Pilatus who died. Was he Millie or was he Vanilli? Still can't figure that one out. Okay, in unimportant news, a U.S. owned oil, very large crude carrier sitting off of Qasr off Kuwait City was hit not by one, but by two anti-ship missiles. The Iranians played that they launched it. The first one did not have the desired effect because anti-ship missiles travel along the top of the water and they tend to hit at the waterline. If that VLCC was loaded, which it appeared loaded, I'll get you the pictures. Qasr. It's like throwing a brick into the mud, right? Because all that's in it is boatloads of mud, right? It's just full of oil. But the second one set it on fire. So here's a video from Qasr, from Baba, whoever Baba is, showing the VLCC off. Oh, actually, it's not a VLCC. It looks like a container ship. Off Qasr with a giant hole filling with water. And actually, if you see it, it looks like water's coming out. That's because there are obviously pumps in there running that out. That ship is at rest. Yeah, it's a container ship. Santara or something like that, Santara 4. But we have not seen a large anti-ship missile deployment by the Iranians. They are holding on to those anti-ship missiles. We've maybe seen 7 or 8 of them fired in this war that we can confirm were not drones. See that hole? A Shahed drone won't do that. That's a big-ass 1-ton HY-2 or Silkworm or some variant that they can afford to lose. And the Iranians showed a video of the launch of that missile. So it might have been one of their C-801s. Here, I'll bring it up now. Iranian cruise missile. Here's the video of the launch. There you go. I can show you right here when it comes out of the truck. No, that's a C-802. It's a Chinese-style sea-skimming anti-ship missile built on contract by the Iranians. And it comes out of a box launcher. Obviously, these box launchers are safer. up in up near Bandar Khomeini or north central southern Iran, as opposed to way deep south Iran. But here's the launch. Eat rockets, America! And there's the result. And a second missile was fired at it. The fire was put out. UK Maritime Trade Office did put out an alert for that. Okay, that's the least important thing that happened yesterday. And I'm sure that in the next 10 minutes, 8 minutes that we have on this show, it will just get more contentious. Let's see if we can go to the questions. Here we are. Substack, plenty of room for Warcast. That's what it was called this week. And I answered a bunch of questions. You guys, I do go back throughout the day and I answer questions, especially if they're comments. um, Somebody asked, is it possible Israel has moved entirely to signature strikes? In other words, target lists fulfilled by censor-fed algorithm triggers. Yeah, maybe. But right now, any strike out of Israel is a political strike. Netanyahu likes, somebody goes, ha ha. PJ Schuster said, damn, I overslept and missed the Warcast. I'm going to have it up for you in about 10 minutes, PJ. You can watch all the fun. And it was pretty fun today, but that's because we're laughing so we don't break out into tears. Israel now is doing political strikes, even if they are tactical in nature, like in Lebanon. As you see, Donald Trump has ordered them stopped, and Netanyahu agreed, except that Bibi Netanyahu said he said no such thing. Go figure. What are the Arab states saying about the latest twist? Wajeeh, are you seeing anything out of the Gulf states? Bil Arabi?
Not yet, no. I need to go into Twitter Spaces and hang out in there for a little bit in Arabic.
Okay.
It's and I was asleep, so yeah, I need to go hang out there before I can give you guys full opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get more to that tomorrow. Only question I have is how we're going to get rid of this guy. Well, Teresa, just wait for that. You know, what do you call it? That patriotic hamburger to do its job. Somebody put this picture of us up. We're not Milli Vanilli. Who are we? Are we the Backstreet Boys? Are we? No, isn't this who are those guys from Brooklyn? We're not the Backstreet Boys. You know what's fun about that? I have dreads, and I threatened to put dreads on at one time to my wife and said, I'm going to get a weave of dreads down to here, you know? And Run DMC, you know, it's the Beastie Boys. You're right. That's what I'm thinking. It's the Beastie Boys.
The Beastie Boys.
Yeah, we could sing Sabotage and it would mean something. Okay. Okay. That's funny. You guys are way too funny. Okay. Milli Vanilli, cast baby, dig it. If the U.S. pulled its naval assets from the Caribbean and went all in to project on a Project Freedom type mission, could that succeed? Yes. But apparently that would require planning and forethought and mindfulness, none of which exist in the Trump White House and definitely not in the Trump Pentagon, no matter how many smart generals and admirals insist that they use common sense. None of that's allowed. Okay, meanwhile, Roos says the Knesset had been dissolved in Israel. So maybe Trump would try to muddle the waters like he's done with all of his other right-wing allies and fellow travelers. I don't know. Maybe he's going to try to get elected prime minister. All he's got to do is get. You know what? If the left and if the Jewish left and the Arab right and the Christian bloc were all to come together to get Trump in there, right, to get rid of Netanyahu, you never know, it can happen. I don't think there's anything. Somebody correct me, Rue, you would know. Is there anything in the Israeli constitution that says you have to be Jewish to be prime minister? Don't know. Can you convert?
I don't know.
Maybe you can go on your aliyah I, by the way, qualified for Aliyah.
But Trump is way above all that,
Yes, because he's Pope, Imam.
Yeah.
He's
what do constitutions matter?
There is that little matter of him.
and an imam.
I was going to say, there is that little matter of him thinking he's Jesus, who, as you know, is a rogue rabbi. And I'm not sure how that would play with the Israeli right. Okay, let me see. I see a lot of comments, not a lot of questions. Larry Johnson, ex-CIA guy, he's the guy that came up with some crazy conspiracy theories about Obama, said on Mario's show that Pakistan negotiators told Rubio that Iran had a nuke and were prepared to test it to show the world. If nobody talks about that shit, if you got them, you smoke them, right? You don't sit there and go, we have a nuke, and if we're going to use it, we're going to test it. Yeah. It's like, what? You want that to get to Washington? Here's how you get it. You throw that shit out into the desert and you blow it up. And you go, we got 3 more.
Exactly.
And then suddenly you're North Korea. No one's going to screw with you, right? That's what happened to North Korea.
Exactly.
Somebody is enjoying.
Guys, I need to log off because I need to make a phone call before 4 o'clock local. So,
Jacob, we will see you tomorrow. And I will answer the rest of your questions online. So thank you, everybody, for coming.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Okay. And Wajeeh and I will be holding the fort because I know, watch, the moment I press end, the war begins. And don't forget, we are still overdue. Wait, Israel doesn't have a constitution? Okay, thank you, Judith. Somebody, where's my guy, Dan Goldberg? He's my in-house Tel Aviv. He's not even, I don't think he's in Tel Aviv. I think he's in Jerusalem, which is, I love Jerusalem. I'm writing a book, by the way, a fiction. I've been writing it for 10 years about I can't tell you what it's about. Let's just say it was written in the time of Jesus, and I'm sort of rewriting the New Testament. But I got to go spend a boatload of time in Jerusalem, and I'm actually going to walk from Nazareth to Galilee down there because that's how you get to J-Town, right? You got to walk. And so how am I supposed to? I mean, I took a car last time I drove from Nazareth, which is a very, very steep village. I mean, talk about top of the mountain, that town. And a Christian town in Lebanon, in Israel. And I'm going to be walking all over this place when I get to write this book. It's a very serious book as opposed to my last fiction, which is rollicking hilarious that will likely be a movie. So we will move on from this today. If you are watching this on YouTube, you missed all the fun. You're watching a recording, and please feel free to make your comments. I do go through the YouTube comments. I do respond to people. If you think this is great, share it with your friends. Hit the hearty heart button up there. And please subscribe to Wajeeh and Jacob if you haven't done so. If you're on YouTube, come over to Substack, get a free subscription, and subscribe to malcolmnance.substack.com. I need the followers. We've been hemorrhaging followers by people who unfortunately think this war is over with. And when it is over, we will happily shift to the morning global geopolitical cast. I've got loads of stuff to talk about in Europe, Ukraine, Cuba, Asia. I still have boatloads of Greenland stuff I have to talk about. And believe me, I don't understand why that's still hot, but still hot. Wajeeh, anything you'd like to say before we go to your show and I have to jump back on in 30 minutes?
No, thank you so much for having me. I wish everyone a great, happy Pride Month. And hopefully this slows down. But again, we only have 2-3 weeks left of oil reserves left, according to ExxonMobil. As of last week, we probably have 2 weeks left. And we're inching toward a very bad economic situation. So brace yourself. Uh, I wish that the media would be a little bit more realistic about our economic situation and realistic about the world economic stage. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, in honor of my my amazing coffee mug, I will play our outro music. That might become the theme music for this show. All right. Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were Rabbit. Watch that film. It's freaking hilarious, and it's way more entertaining for adults than Paddington Bear. All right. So thank you for all coming. Go on to YouTube, Substack. That's where the questions are. I will be answering those questions. All right. Okay. Take care. We will see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you maybe in a minute.